Hi everyone, this is Ronnie.
And Aubrey.
Yeah, and we are here in,
Copenhagen,
couldn't remember there. So
Thailand.
yes, Kupanyang, Thailand. This is day 25 of my mango odyssey of eating just mangoes. So to clarify, last 25 days, last 24 days, just eating mangoes and water. And I'm not even sure when was the last time I even had vegetables before that. I've not really had a salad here that much.
You did eat the raw BLT at one point.
Yeah, I had some um, raw gourmet food in some of the restaurants here, which is quite good.
Was very good.
But I still wanted to lose some weight. I still wanted to stick to, a cleaner raw diet without the salt and everything. And then for some reason, then you were wanting to do just mangoes for a few days. So it kind of came together, and then I just thought, okay, just keep it going for a while. So it's been 25 days. Firstly, what are the reasons? Other reasons that I kept going. One, because it's quite simple. I'm quite enjoying it. It's quite nice to just have a same thing every day. Makes it kind of easy, and yes, it's nice. It's simple. Right now, I'm not experiencing any difficult symptoms of any problems happening or deficiencies or lack of energy or anything like that.
You're eating a lot of mangoes.
Yeah,
I mean, like what, 10 to 13 a day?
Yeah, I think at least 10, but 12, 13 is probably closer to the amount. And they're about 170 calories, 150 calories each, so it's not that bad. So that's what I've been doing, and I don't know if I get moments where I'm bored with it, but at the same time I'm like,
What
I'm
else?
not that drawn to eating other things. Yeah, it's not like I'm going, man, I really want some pineapple, or I'd really love some grapes, or I'm not that bothered. Like I would like to eat some of these things, but it's just not.
You don't feel like you're missing out.
I'm not thinking about it all the time, so I'm just thinking I'll keep doing it until either there's no mangoes left, or we go somewhere else, or
Yeah, but even on the days when Chimpedak was available or something like that, you were just like, oh, I'm still just gonna eat mangoes.
yeah. So even when there was other good fruits.
You did though. That one day I got some Indian food, and you were like, "What would you do if I just
Oh, yeah.
started eating this?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"There's never been a moment like since we've been together that you've ever had any sort of inclination to like even just pretend and make a joke of
Yeah.
eating cooked food, and then you're like, "What would you do if I just?" And I was like,
Yeah,
What?
I think and I was speaking to there was a guy that was messaging me about having cravings for cooked food and how long would that last and everything. And I said to him, well, are you around cooked food all the time? If you're around cooked food all the time, you're probably going to get some cravings all the time, regardless of how far you're into the whole raw lifestyle, which is why it's probably beneficial to try and live in a space where you've got your own space to eat or whatever. But it's not possible for everyone. Anyway, what are you up to, and what do you want to talk about?
"Well, I mean, it's been interesting because I think I was eating cooked food like for about 10 days recently."
When you came here, you stayed raw for the first few weeks.
I stayed raw for like 3 weeks straight.
Right. Yeah.
And it was fruit, it was a lot of salads and going out to because there are a lot of like raw restaurants and places that offer raw vegan options, so it was like exciting, and we could go out and eat and do different things. And then I just like I had this craving really badly for like the green curry, and so I just started I decided that day I was like, okay, I'm just gonna eat it. And it's kind of one of those things where the journey that I'm on with food right now is like trying to allow myself to fulfill these cravings rather than force myself to be in a place where I'm miserable and trying to just push it down and repress it, because I feel like that's almost counterproductive, and then it sends you into a cycle of creating or recreating habits that you don't want to be participating in. So for the last 10 days or so, there was one day within this time that I was raw again, I ate just raw again.
Yeah.
But it's been a matter of having the thought of wanting to eat something and then just allowing myself to eat that thing until it's almost like I'm exhausting the desire for it. So it's
Yeah.
I ate French fries for 2 or 3 days and then I'm like, I don't want French fries anymore. And I ate pad thai like for 3 days, and then I'm like, I don't want the pad thai anymore. And then today I woke up and I was like, I just want to eat raw food today, you know. So it's just been an interesting, and also it was really, it's almost kind of like exciting because I'll eat the cooked food, and then it's starting, you know, I get a little more tired. I feel, you know, I can feel maybe I'm like holding on to it, you know, my body's like holding on to the food rather than like eliminating it a lot easier.
You start to notice it,
Yeah.
these things more, basically. Like, that's what I feel like. Here's what I say to all of you that are trying to go raw at the moment, or you've been raw for a little while. You are not going to be able to resist some of these cravings at first.
Well, and I
basically.
don't think it's beneficial or productive to a person on this journey to do any sort of repression. I think that like the best thing you can do is take the path of least resistance, knowing the direction that you're going, and knowing the direction that you want to be going, and knowing that you're always going to like have to take those side steps, but you come back. Like, it's not going to be a straight linear path. It never will be. It's never going to be like a perfectly strict, consistent, unless you have like insane discipline, and that's just like part of your personality. But like for the majority of us, we have to kind of like take it as it ebbs and flows, and like we have to weave with it and go with what like, because it's a matter of like the strength of the mind, as well as like the effortlessness in making a decision. Because I believe that like, yes, you want to have discipline, but at the same time, if it's like creating such turmoil like in your mentality and your emotional state, like you can't do anything else because all you're doing is you're stuck thinking about this food, like that's also not being productive. And you're not being able to like participate in your daily duties and your daily activities, you know, like things that just need to be done on a daily basis also to take care of yourself. But if you're hung up on thoughts of food, then you're going to be distracted from that, and then it's going to kind of just like dampen your whole day. So like the thing that I was saying though was like eating the cooked food. Like yesterday, I ate some pad thai and I ate some like curried vegetables with rice. Couldn't finish it. And then I woke up today and I was like, I just want raw food. And so I got a smoothie bowl, which was amazing and delicious. And I like felt immediately the shift in energy of like, oh, this food is actually bringing me up instead of bringing me down. And then eating, like I ordered a raw pad thai from this place, like zucchini noodles, shredded pumpkin and carrots and cabbage and stuff. And just feeling the nourishment and the hydration and like the actual like, it just feels like health. You know what I mean? Like the raw foods feel like I'm literally putting
I think that basically
the health back into my body, you know.
So Doug Graham said this thing when I asked him about why do people go back to eating cooked food, why do people go back to eating some of the other bad foods or less good foods, and he said, I think he said, what was the word he used? He basically said it's because people forget. You know, that people forget how they felt when they used to eat cooked food, or they used to eat these things. And I think that going raw is sometimes a process of people going back and forth, and then gradually over time they go, you know what, I really don't want this anymore. It really doesn't have anything positive about it, and it's not even tasting that great anymore. And that's when you get to that realization as well. It's like, this, I'm not even enjoying eating this, so all I'm eating this for now is the craving part of it. Is I've got this craving that I'm serving, and eventually you start to realize it's just a craving, and it's just, there's nothing really in it that you want that cooked food for. So
but then I also feel like the craving diminishes, and you start just like craving and wanting other things.
Well, hopefully,
like, well, I mean, this is what we were talking about with Antonis last night, how you're on your 25th day of mangoes and you can't even be bothered to eat anything else. It's not like you have this really strong emotional pull to put anything else in your mouth. And so I think that like it should be that gradual process to get to a point of where the decision that you want to make becomes the decision that you're going to make, and the decision that you do make, because it's not, there's no effort, there's no resistance.
So when you have these cravings, these kind of addictive cravings, you actually feel it in your body, and you feel it as an emotional pull. It's not just a thought in your mind. It's not just an idea. It's not just the, you know, I could eat some cooked food, or it's not like that. It's like it's a physical pull. It's you start to taste it in your mouth. You start to feel almost uncomfortable if you've not got it, and
Yeah,
you
it's like
have
that
to.
Pavlov response
Yeah.
almost. Like you've conditioned your own mind and your body to react to the thought of the food,
Yeah.
just like the dog to the belly starts salivating, and that's
Yeah.
what you do to your own self. We've like gone through this process for so long that you
Yeah.
condition yourself to react in that way because that's how you've reacted.
Yeah.
You've learned to react that specific thing is going to bring you pleasure, so your body starts reacting like, oh, if I don't get that thing, I'm not going to feel good, I'm not going to like have that pleasure response. And so
Yeah, and it's there's very few people that are going to be able to go raw overnight for life or for good. There's probably no one, and
I don't think that that's necessarily the best way to do it either.
yeah, it's not the best way. It's probably
You know,
not the best way.
It's
to
like
do
someone saying like, I've smoked cigarettes for 26 years and now I'm just going to quit cold turkey tomorrow. Like,
and that's kind of an egotistical thing as well, because it's almost like you're saying that's it, that's me, I'm finished.
right.
As if, and you're basically saying I'm in complete control. I know what I'm doing. You know, all that kind of thing. It's coming. It's like. And it's not really understanding there is flows in your emotions, there are up and downs in your motivations and your thought process and all that. So you get this thing. I heard this guy talk about a process of change when people feel uninformed enthusiasm, and that's what the person feels when they're like, right, that's me, finished cigarettes forever. You know, they feel this uninformed. They go out and tell everyone about it and all that stuff. And then after a couple of days, they realise how hard it is, or they start to feel difficult or whatever, and that enthusiasm all drops, and they become skeptical, informed. I don't know. I can't remember. A guy said uninformed enthusiasm to like informed skepticism or something like that, and then eventually you get to like, I don't know. You get to a point where you start to work out how to live without it, and you go further into it, and then you believe in yourself, and you know, if you keep going through the curve of all these different emotions going up and down, you eventually get through it and the craving drops away. But that is a tough process, and drug addicts have been through it, cigarette smokers have been through it, probably caffeine addicts have been through it. Anyone that's given up these different things have been through those cycles, so you've probably seen it in other things that you've tried yourself. But this is why it's so hard for anyone to give up any of these things, because you've got this thing within you that it makes it hard for you to make changes. Just the way that we're all programmed makes it hard for us to make these changes. And going raw is one of the toughest for sure, because you've got no crutch. Basically, I mean, maybe raw gourmet a little bit, but it doesn't really replace for people potatoes or rice or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's a totally different feeling of full, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and I don't know if, like, I don't really want to talk about the mango thing I'm doing too much, because I don't want to encourage everyone like this is what you should do. That's not what I'm saying.
I mean, if you can at least like look at your situation honestly and say you've been on a journey of raw foods for 8 years.
Yeah.
And this is your very first time ever doing only one kind of fruit for an extended period of time. In 8 years. That's a long time of transitioning away from, 27 years, 26 years, 27 years of cooked foods, of eating whatever, of eating meat, of eating dairy, this and that, to going into raw food, to bouncing back and forth between cooked food and raw food, to like falling off after like 4 or 5 years, and then like coming back to it. And now you're at a point where this is, like I said, a completely effortless experience. So like, this isn't saying like, okay, just everyone go out and eat one kind of fruit for like 5 weeks, and good luck with it, like, because of the fact that you're not experiencing any sort of healing crisis, any sort of detox symptoms, any sort of resistance, mentally, emotionally, physically, like, that's exactly the way that people should be doing it. Because there's already so much stress in our lives, there's already so much distress on our bodies, on our mentality, on our emotional, bodies and everything like that, that creating a sustainable change into a healthier lifestyle shouldn't add to that.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that like you're a very prime example of showing people how to do something successfully and how to create something that is sustainable and something that feels good to you. Like
Yeah.
you obviously had to go through, I don't know exactly like your experience with letting go of your tomatoes and like well, if you think about it, okay, like I came into the picture and then I started noticing the things that you do because we're around each other all the time. And I came into your life, I came into your space and saw like, why can't we upgrade some of these areas? Like
Yeah.
why don't we live somewhere nicer and warmer? Why don't we give ourselves access to better fruits? Why don't we give ourselves, like the experience of life that we would rather have as opposed to the one that we think that we deserve? So I'm not exactly sure like within these last 7 months like how that journey has been, because I know it's been a lot of uprooting of a lot of comforts for you in that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, like when you were living with me, I was starting to lose weight a little bit, and then when you left, I put weight back on.
Did you really?
Yeah, because I was just like eating.
Going back to the same thing.
Yeah, eating all the tomatoes and everything, and even though that's not a big part of putting on weight, but I guess I was just eating more and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, when you're with someone, obviously it can be a bit tension as well because we're seeing each other's habits.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really want to. I know how emotional or difficult giving up foods and changing your diet is, so I don't really want to be trying to pile on some kind of pressure or telling you should do this or not. But even if I make a throwaway comment like, oh, maybe you shouldn't eat that, there's something better, that's still something you don't want to hear, because if you've got something that you want to eat,
yeah,
then it's not really good if I'm saying, because then it sounds like I'm going to judge you if you eat something else or whatever.
Even, and especially, I think for me personally, when you bring things up like that and you say something like, oh, well, maybe don't eat that because of the oil or this or that, it's like, it's not that I'm unaware.
Yeah, exactly. You're not unaware of that stuff.
You know what I mean? So it's like I'm making the decision
Yeah.
out of awareness, not out of ignorance.
It's the same with the tomatoes. Like I knew that eating massive amounts of plum tomatoes, it's not the worst thing in the world, but
No,
like it
it's
wasn't
not,
the best
but, yeah.
choice in that moment.
I'm also
But it
curious
still
though, like,
made me
did
like I know that, but I still want to do it, and that's what happens when you're.
Did I bring it up though in a way? Like I'm trying to think back to being in the U.S. and like watching you eat. Was it just like me making an observation?
No, it was like in the
I was just like, hey, what are you?
It was like when we were in the first night that we drove to New Jersey, and then I bought all these tomatoes after the thing.
After the concert.
And you were like, what are you doing? Why are you eating? This isn't optimal. Like, why are you eating so many tomatoes and all that stuff?
Well, I was also wondering about like.
Shut up. Don't.
No, but I mean, I'm also wondering, like,
giving them back.
me bringing up, like, the way that you were eating as well, because you would buy the tomatoes, you would buy the head of lettuce, and you had a specific experience that you always did, and then you had your headphones in and you were watching something, so it was like that very unconscious act
That
of,
was
like,
what my pleasure.
you zone out, you just completely, like, zone out, turn off, and that was it,
That
you
is
know?
the 3 or 4 elements of the Ronnie salad, which is the tomatoes, the lettuce. There's a specific way of eating them.
And then the
headphones
with
in
YouTube.
watching each.
Listening to random people who make a lot of money talk about how you make a lot of money. Or not even talking about how they make money, but like...
Listen to random
Oh my
entrepreneurs
God.
and marketing people and stuff.
So yeah, it was like... So I guess I was just kind of bringing that up as a question of like, how do you feel that you reacted to it or didn't react to it emotionally to make those changes?
I still thought a couple of days later, I was thinking, well, she is right. I know that it is a kind of an issue, and then I did give it up for a couple of weeks, and then I started eating them again.
Yeah, when we were in the States, you gave them up.
Yeah,
There was that one day that we were, I don't even know where we were. We stopped in the middle of nowhere in the country and found this little place that we got like huge bags full of these cherry tomatoes, and we both ate each of our like giant bags full in the car in one sitting, and then I was like, I never wanted to fruit again.
But at that point,
But
you
they
were
were
so happy.
so good though.
But at that point, Aubrey was, you were taken up to this level where you were like, I just want to eat fruit.
Yeah, I did just want to
I
eat
just
fruit.
want to eat. And at that point,
Like
sometimes you
mangoes.
were like, you just want to eat mangoes.
I did just want to eat mangoes. They were so good
And
too. We were getting some good mangoes at that time.
and so, if I was eating tomatoes, she was like, why are you doing that again? You don't need that. Why are you doing that? Why are you eating that? You can do better than
Well,
that.
I was
So,
also like, just eat the same thing as me.
leave
like,
me
it's
alone.
fine.
Let me.
Well, I also, to be fair, like, I pulled you into a situation that you were like 110% uncomfortable with, like
Yeah,
the entire time,
but
living out of my car.
You
like,
also didn't want to go into Walmart and stuff like that. Like, no, I don't want to go into that shop. You wanted to find another type of shop. So it was, you
And
didn't
then I was
want to have a
spending, like,
salad.
even
If
more
you had
money.
a salad, you were like, you felt bad if you ate a
oh
salad.
my god, it was silly.
So
It was so silly to do that.
yeah, and even like fresh, even juice. You didn't want to get juice, like even fresh juice from a plastic bottle. You didn't want to have a plastic
Mhm.
bottle.
Yeah, there were a lot of things that I was still like so dogmatic about at that time when we were like
Yeah,
first
so I
meeting
wasn't.
and spending time
I
together.
I
so.
wasn't convinced that was going to last forever.
It definitely didn't.
So I was just going along with it for a while, but yeah, it's. But anyway, I mean, this has quite been a long video. Maybe we'll make another video about our life out here. But thanks for watching this one. Still on the mangoes. You're raw, on and off, and maybe more raw at the moment.
I'm just trying to
Seeing where you're at with it. Just going with the flow.
Yeah, every day is different. Every moon is different. I woke up today and I was like, I just want to eat raw food.
Yeah.
So I had a smoothie bowl and I had some raw pad thai and I've still got like a small salad in the fridge and then I've got a whole watermelon that I can juice, you know, so like it feels good and I am not afraid anymore to like be open and honest about my experience going back and forth with cooked food because that's the reality of it. Like people don't want to show the actual reality of what it's like to make the transition because they're afraid of what other people in the raw community are going to think when they're eating cooked food. But like
Yeah.
everyone goes through it. And if they say that they don't, they're fucking liars. Excuse my language, but they are liars. Like
Yeah.
there is not a single
Yeah.
person that has gone like, 20 plus years of their life eating all sorts of cooked food, eating the junk, eating, meats, dairies, blah, 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 like anything that they wanted because they didn't have a consciousness around
Yeah.
what they were eating into a raw food diet and not have struggles back and forth.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't think it's anything to do with motivation. Some of you might think, well, if I get sick, then I'll change to raw. It's like, I've seen people that have been really, really sick who are interested in raw, they still can't make the change because it's so difficult.
It is difficult, but
It's-
at the same
and you
time,
have
if your
to
heart's
appreciate-
in it, like,
But if you appreciate how difficult it's going to be, you're more likely to do it. Like
Or-
if you actually come into it and go, this is going to be hard, I might fall off now and again, but I'm going to get there. Having a more realistic approach
yeah,
like that,
that's what I was
you're gonna,
thinking.
rather
being
than
realistic.
thinking, I'm never going to eat raw food, cooked food again, and then 7 days in,
And
you
eat
feel
cooked
bad
food.
about yourself because you're like, how come I can't do this?
That's
And
something
all
we've been
these people on
watching,
YouTube
like,
can do it or whatever, and a lot of those people aren't doing it.
our friend Derek has been, he's still kind of in that mindset when he eats cooked food that he gets down on himself and he's like, oh, I just want to do a juice fest, I just want to do this, I just want to do that. And it's like, Derek, if you could just relax a little bit, give yourself some wiggle room, give yourself grace to go
Yeah.
through this, you know what I mean? So it's,
Yeah.
and it does get hard because also we're so wrapped up in social media and watching everyone else's experience and then comparing ourselves to those.
But Derek should ask me as well. He's never asked me a single question.
Yeah, but you said that about me not asking you for help too, so
No
it's
one
not
ever-
about
No one
that.
ever asked me. Anyway,
Because
thanks
they
for.
know you're right and they don't want to hear it when they're dealing with their
Cool.
stuff.
If you want to, if you want to subscribe to the channel and all that, do that. Ask some questions below. I know this is a long video, so you may not even see this stuff.
No, enjoy it.
Um,
Watch it.
Love Fruit podcast on
New
Spotify.
interview out.
New interviews up. Spotify and iTunes and YouTube. You might have seen it on this channel.
Mhm.
UK Fruitfest, fruitfest.co.uk/registration if you want to come. And I'll put a link below if you want coaching as well, one-on-one, because it is tough. You might
It
need
is
some
tough.
help. So,
And if you don't want him to help you, I can help you.
yeah. Okay, thanks for watching.